Hi lovelies, thank you for joining me. I just thought I'd do a really quick little video for you guys today because Jupiter's going retrograde, and I just pulled a few tarot cards just to feel into what the energy was like, what the energy is about, and I found it really enlightening. You have to bear with me because I'm very tired because I was up late last night drawing for ages and kind of burnt the candle at both ends a little bit by doing that. Okay, so I drew, as you would have seen at the beginning image, first of all, the Eight of Cups in reverse, okay? So, I don't know if you can see that. I know it's quite dark. And then the Death card, which a lot of people are getting at the moment, and I love that. And then the Queen of Wands, which is so fitting. So, first of all, let's talk about Jupiter going retrograde. So, Jupiter is about our success and our fulfillment and our happiness and our vision, you know, and also our perspectives in life. It's also about spiritual wisdom and attainment of spiritual knowledge, and how we can apply that into our lives. So when he goes retrograde, rather than seeing so much outward expansion, what we start to see is that we start to become introspective with these things, with our values, and we're more likely to be reviewing what we're carrying with us and taking into our future, whether it's going to enable our success or not, and whether it's going to help us to create that vision of the future that we want. We'll become a little bit more analytical in this sense. So when I drew these three cards, I was really kind of impressed because it really speaks to me of the story of Jupiter retrograde. And he's going retrograde in Scorpio. And who rules Scorpio? Who rules the Death card? Scorpio does. Okay, so we've got Scorpio there. We've also got Jupiter present as the Queen of Wands, okay? So Jupiter is associated with Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, and fire sign, Queen of Wands, okay? So this is very clear to me what's going on here. Now, what I find interesting is that we drew the Queen of Wands. It wasn't the Ace of Wands or the King of Wands. And the reason I want to point that out is because I think that we have a great deal of divine feminine energy going on this year, hugely. And I feel like for men, part of their process may well be tapping into and looking into the feminine nature of themselves, the divine feminine nature of themselves, because we all have that duality within ourselves. We all have masculine and feminine within ourselves. And I believe that divine feminine is being brought to the forefront now more than ever in order to balance the scales. So I think it's very fitting that the Queen of Wands has shown up rather than the King of Wands or even the Ace of Wands. So what does this say to me? So the Eight of Cups is a card to me of, you know, when it's upright, this is I'm having to make the decision to leave things that I'm actually quite happy about, but in order to find something that's missing. There's a sense of disappointment with this card. There's a sense of, just look at the card itself. It's slightly depressing, isn't it? It's lonely, and he's going off into the terrain on his own. But this is also a card of a spiritual path. This is somebody who has already got cups, you know, that are full. So in other words, has got things that are going well for him in his life, but yet there is something that is missing. There's something that needs to be brought into his sphere, and he's gone in search of it. And this is very much a card of a spiritual journey, like I said. And what is Jupiter about? Jupiter is about spirituality. It's about higher wisdom and higher knowledge. Now, I feel like for a lot of people, it will play out in various different ways, and I'm not going to give you a really practical interpretation because I really feel this is quite esoteric, this is very spiritual. So I feel for a lot of people, we have been going down a certain path, a certain track, and there will be some aspect of your life that you will have felt it's been gnawing away at you a little bit, that there's something there that you need to look at that could be done more thoroughly, or some area where maybe you've gone too far. Maybe you've gone too far in a relationship. Maybe you've expanded too quickly in some sense. It could be an addiction that's got out of hand. It could be greed that's got out of hand. It could be an unbalanced relationship. Sorry, I'm repeating myself. But there's something, it's almost as though, you know, you've got the foundations of your life, and like, say these are the foundations, But then when you step on this one area, the floor sags a little bit and it's a weak point. And Jupiter is asking you to review this now and saying, okay, we can no longer, it's not realistic for you to move forward and have the experiences that you want, and to be able to create that vision of your life that you want without paying attention to this thing that you need to look at, whatever area it will fall in for you. So look at the house in which Jupiter will be retrograding in your chart. Also look at the house that Jupiter naturally rules in your natal chart, because it will affect that too. Okay, and this will be about getting to, it will be about getting to grips with things. It will be about getting to the truth of things. Let me check my phone quickly. I was worried it might have stopped. So yeah, it will be about self-honesty. You know, Scorpio is a very honest sign. It likes to get to the bottom of things. And Jupiter is no longer, I love Jupiter. I mean, I'm Sagittarius, so he rules me. So this is going to affect me very much. And I'm feeling it today, very much so. But the thing with Jupiter is that there is a tendency to be happy-go-lucky. There's a tendency to just be like, to be superficial sometimes in wanting to cover so much ground, because Jupiter is so expansive and he loves growth and loves abundance. But in wanting to cover so much ground, sometimes the ground covered can end up being very superficial. So something here is calling on us. Something here is being something here is calling us to be mastered, basically, is what I'm trying to say. When we look at the numbers of these three cards, okay, so we've got, we've got the Eight of Cups, all right, plus Death, which is the number 13. Just a little impromptu add-in, guys, which I forgot to mention at the time. Jupiter's going to be retrograde, or going retrograde until 13 degrees of Scorpio, okay? So that also ties in with the number 13. It ties in with death, transformation, the death card. Okay, so I just wanted you to bear that in mind, so you can now see the patterns that are emerging within this reading and within what's going on with this retrograde cycle. Plus the Queen of Wands, which is the number 24. When we add those all up, it actually adds up to 9. 9 in numerology is basically coming to the end of a cycle. Okay, where we haven't completed the cycle yet, because that's when we get to 10, or in other words 1, and we begin a fresh cycle. So on some level, we are closing up a cycle. We're going in search of something, we're reviewing something, or we're going deeper with something in order to master it, in order to bring it into our lives, or even release it if it's something that no longer serves us. But it has to be done now. It's gotten to a point now where we can no longer ignore it. And if we try to, what Jupiter will do is, because he's expansion, he will expand that issue so big that you can no longer ignore it. You have to pay attention, and it may well be painful if you don't do it voluntarily. So this is a 9. So, you know, Jupiter is trying to inspire us to bring a close to something that is no longer working for us, or even consciously go deeper with something. So it could be to go deeper with a level of study. It could be it's kind of either self-mastery through, I feel like it's self-mastery through purity and cleansing, and yes, detoxing, but at the same time, you can master a subject by taking it down to its core, to its very basics. You can really purify it. And once you understand the essence of a subject, whether that be a business, a course of study, even if it's a relationship, once you understand the essence of it, then you instinctively then can understand the entire picture of it and how everything relates to one another. So it's this real sense of truth and purity and clarity. And that may mean for some of us letting go of something. It may mean for some of us going deeper with something. It will differ depending on your personal circumstances. But like I said, so, you know, we're talking about the number 9. We're talking about death and transformation. So what will happen is you will be leaving something behind. A lot of us will either be letting go of something, a behavior, a belief. You know, don't forget that Jupiter rules our beliefs, our perspectives. It could be that suddenly your perspective is changing and you're having a huge, what's it called? You're having a huge, I want to say, I nearly had it then, it was on the tip of my tongue. You're having a huge paradigm shift. Okay, and that can be as it relates to yourself. I know for me, this year already, I am seeing myself with new eyes, and it's happening so often. I'm just constantly going, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I liked this. I didn't realize that I didn't really like that, but I've been doing it for so long. We're learning about ourselves, you know? So it can be a paradigm shift. It can be mastering something, okay? Because once we do this, if we go with this energy, this retrograde energy for the next 4 months that it's going to be around for, then when Jupiter does go direct and when he's back to his benefic self, who is about expansion and blessings and success, we will be ready to reap those rewards. But we have to bear in mind that we can only hold as many blessings as we are energetically allowing ourselves to. It's like having a cup with holes in it or cracks in it. If you've got cracks in your cup, you can only hold so much water. So now it's time to look at those cracks, to shore up those cracks, to heal those cracks, so that when Jupiter goes direct, you can hold that water, you can hold the beautiful blessings that he brings. Okay? And this then brings you to this point, the Queen of Wands. Okay, so this is a person of integrity, this is a person of character, this is a person who inspires, who walks their own path, and who has a direct connection with spirit and magic and source, but is also grounded and is a ruler, you know, and is in charge of their own kingdom, their own sense of being. So once we go through this process, this death process, we get to this. And look at, for a moment though, look at death, okay? Look at that card. Look at how even the priest is begging him. You know, he answers to no man. So this is really, it's about, we're not going to be looking outside of ourselves for leaders anymore. For this, during this period, don't be surprised if people don't want to put very much faith in leaders, because what it's trying to say, and you know, Jupiter is very much about leadership and inspiring others. This time for you to be your own leader, to follow your intuition, as symbolized by the little black cat there at her feet, to follow your intuition and be your own leader. It will not work to look to people outside of yourself anymore. Death does not care about how high someone's standing is. It's about you allowing yourself to transform and then re-emerge and reawaken as that sun on the horizon, being resurrected as the new you, going into your future with inspiration, creativity, passion for life, and in your sovereignty, in standing strongly in your sovereignty. So, I mean, this really couldn't be more fitting, could it? You'll notice as well, on my hands I have symbols to do with Jupiter going retrograde today. I just wanted to pay a little homage to it, because I'm a big fan of Jupiter. He's one of my favorites. So I also drew 2 of my angel cards, okay? And I knew this was going to happen. I was shuffling them, and as I was shuffling them, I caught a glimpse of the one blank card that's in there. And the idea of the blank card is that you can literally manifest and have everything you want. It's almost a symbol of your unlimited abundance and your ability to be, do, and have anything. Okay? And as I was shuffling them, I caught a glimpse of the card, and I just instantly I knew, my intuition was like, it's gonna be that one, isn't it? And so I was shuffling them, and then the first card I drew, of course, the blank card. So what does this tell me? This tells me that, and when this is truth, we have the ability to be anything we want. We have the ability to achieve anything we want. We have the ability to feel anything we want. We can transform our lives in a moment, should we choose, just with one choice usually. And it doesn't matter what your star sign is, and it might sound strange because I'm an astrologer. Astrology looks at your conditioning, but your potential is unlimited. And so do you not think that this very much echoes this sentiment? Okay? Leaving behind what no longer serves you, going in search of what it is that you need to get to that next spiritual plane, transforming, and then coming into your own sovereignty. I don't know if that's a word, but you know, coming into your own sovereign state, and as such, choosing how you want the world to look, starting with a blank piece of paper and literally painting your own canvas. I also pulled another card after this, and that one was patience. And I'm just going to read this to you. And I think this is very, very good, because so often we want to move forward, we want all our blessings and success now. But Jupiter is saying, hang on a minute, you are not, like I said, that using that analogy of the cup, you're not able to hold this all now. And there are reasons for this, and you know why, and you need to look at those reasons. Okay? And so with this retrograde, with this having to be introspective and call upon our higher wisdom, comes a certain amount of patience. It means we have to, for a little while, not care so much about the outer measures of success. For a little while, you know, find the money, the glory, and all of that. We need to put the seeking of that on hold so that we can grow spiritually, okay? And then we can get back into that kind of stuff. But right now is a period of spiritual reevaluation, and it's a time of patience. Let me read this card for you. It says, trust the higher forces of life to know what is best for you, and remember that when you are asked to wait, you are being prepared for something even better than you expected. Now, does that not speak of Jupiter's blessings? So change your attitude to one of acceptance, relax and take stock. Ask your angel to enfold you during this waiting period so that you can listen to the promptings of the divine. Do not rush off on some wild goose chase of your lower will. When the time is right and you are ready and refreshed, the next door will open. Patience is always rewarded. And the affirmation for that is, all things happen at the perfect time. Now that could not be more fitting, could it? So I really feel like this is about us. We're up-leveling our divine wisdom and nature, and we almost need, before, I think some of us are going to make huge leaps and bounds, especially in the last part of this year. There are going to be a lot of people, there's certain signs that I can really see this with. There are going to be a lot of people who suddenly your life is just going to take off. It's already been happening for a lot of you. A lot of you have been doing a lot of cleansing and you're feeling these different vibrations. I know I am. There's going to be a lot of people where your life is going to look completely different by the end of the year, or at least it will be starting to take shape in beautiful and unbelievable ways. And this is a sort of, it's almost like pulling the, having a bow and arrow, being an archer, pulling the I don't even know what you call it, the bow back, okay? Getting that tension. This is Jupiter retrograding. It's pulling that bow back, making us go within, making us, you know, bringing that higher wisdom, review what's happened over the past 12 years or however long, and come forward with more wisdom so that eventually when that's released, that arrow can fly as high as you can imagine. And that's what Jupiter is about. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, who is the archer, the centaur. Okay, so it's about aiming high, but in order to aim high, first we need to make sure that we are shored up on the inside and that we are on firm ground and firm footing. Because otherwise, if our footing isn't right and our stance isn't right, we're not able to aim high and we'll miss our mark, okay? So right now is about getting that stance right. This is spiritual growth, evolution, and purification. And I would really implore you not to just chase money at the moment, not to just chase success at the moment, but to really try and work with Jupiter and in the motion that he's naturally going in, okay? All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that little impromptu reading. I really enjoyed doing it for you. And I will be doing more like this. You know, Venus and Mars will be going retrograde later in the year, so will Uranus. And I'll do, you know, other little impromptu readings. Yeah, if you would like a personal reading, please go to my website where you can contact me. I've got various different options of different readings that I do. Follow me on Instagram at anushkakakaka if you feel like it, where I post little bits and bobs to do with spirituality and tarot and, of course, my own little personal journey. All right, guys. I hope you have a wonderful Jupiter retrograde, and I'm excited to see you all growing in leaps and bounds, and it's going to be amazing. Take care.